Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Amtem Germany and our partner Wattsense, here with my colleague Romain Philippon, I would like to welcome you to our webinar on the topic adding value to building management with LoRaWAN. The webinar, as you recognize, will be held in English. However, as you might recognize, I'm not a native English speaker, so it is possible to ask me questions in German or maybe also in French to Romain. Don't hesitate to do that. I'll shortly go through the agenda with you and decide to let the people in that are just joining us. We will have, you can find in the upper right corner of your of the Teams Teams application, you can find the F&A section. You can use that anytime to write down your questions here. That should be accessible to all of you. And we will have a look into that section from time to time. And I think we're going to answer all the questions in the end. Otherwise, maybe it makes sense during the webinar as well, but I think we will answer main parts or the main questions in the end. What we will be talking about is, first of all, we're obviously going to introduce our companies Amtem Germany and Watsence to you. After that, I will give you a slight introduction into the technology LoRaWAN itself. I sorted out a couple of arguments why LoRaWAN is a perfect fit to a building management system. And from there on, I will hand it over to Romain for his part on the Wattsense box and hub and some slight and short introduction with a live demo. And after that, we will have enough time for questions. So let me quickly get started. Oh, that was one too much. First of all, my name is Marius Nicolai. I'm CEO of Amtem Germany. And our company, Amtem Germany, is focused in wireless M2M and IoT solutions. We are doing that for 15 years now. Company was founded in 2007. We're based here in Germany, close to Frankfurt. Around about 25 employees nowadays. And what that means that we are being a specialist for wireless M2M IT applications, I will tell you on the next slide. So that's exactly the picture in the middle. That is the part, or this is our part of the business. That means we connect basically any industrial application to a software system or application, like a building management system, for example. So we are expert on this communication layer you can see here in the middle. No matter if it is LoRaWAN technology, what we are talking about today, or it can also be cellular networks, 4G, 5G solutions, narrowband, also obviously short-range technologies like Bluetooth. So these are the technologies that we are working with, and we supply our customers and help them to make use of these technologies. We are doing that more or less in any different branch. So it doesn't matter to us if it's about building management or if it's about automotive, construction machines, excavators, can be any other machinery, PLC, whatever. So we connected wireless to an application using that different kind of technologies. Therefore, our offer ranges from obviously the consulting, but also from the consulting, first of all, which technology might be the right one for you, up to setting the solution in place. And we divided our business in mainly these three fields you can see here on the right. So distribution, I think I don't need to explain. Of course, we provide the hardware for that. What is more interesting are the both upper parts, which are the embedded IoT solutions. That means we also develop parts of the hardware if there's no, if we can't find a solution that matches your needs. We also do custom development of IoT hardware. And the right part, IoT network solutions, is especially interesting in connection with LoRaWAN because it's not only about delivering some units, it's also about setting up the LoRaWAN network, bringing in the gateway, connecting them to some third-party applications. So there are many other things to consider, and that is what we help with our customers there. To make that a bit more clear for the LoRaWAN world, that means we not only bring the sensors, but also the gateways, the modules, the complete consulting part from the beginning up to the running network, LoRaWAN network server, etc. Planning the network side. That is our range or our scope of delivery when it comes to LoRaWAN. And with that, I would like to hand over to Romain to introduce Watsence to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. My name is Romain Philippon. I'm the account executive of Watsence, and I'm in charge of all the sales. Our mission is to make building more connected and to simplify IoT and BMS integration. If you go to the next slide, please. We are a company created 5 years ago by Louis Vermorel. We're based in Lyon, in France. I might notice from my accent. We are a growing team of 28 members now, and we're hiring. We're still growing. We got many opportunities, many development for the future. And to make the story short, we wanted to raise funds around 1.5 years ago, and we drew many interest from many people, including Siemens, which won the right to acquire Watsence about 1 year ago. So we're now fully part actually of the Siemens group on a BP branch, to be perfectly exact. So it's a great opportunity for us. We're part of the Siemens family. We see many opportunities, many synergies with Siemens. And we are very pleased to stay autonomous under the Watsence name, and we keep growing both ways, and we still have the solution. Right now, we have many partners, what we call distributors or people such as M2M, which help us to locally reply to some project and provide assistance to their clients using the Watsence solution, which I'm going to go into more detail in the next few slides.
Thank you, Romain. So now first of all, I will give you some facts about LoRaWAN itself. So let's start to compare LoRaWAN with other technologies you might know. So for those who haven't heard of LoRaWAN yet or are not really sure what is the scope of the technology, I draw that scheme here, where you can see LoRaWAN in comparison to other technologies that might be better known from the past, like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So what you can see here is that on the one axis we have the range of the technology, on the other one we have the possible data rate, and therefore you can see LoRaWAN, for example, compared with Wi-Fi, which is more or less a short range technology. As you know from your home, you can use Wi-Fi in a range of like up to 100 meters, but with a huge data rate that is possible, data streaming, video streaming, etc. Compared to that, LoRaWAN has the far better range. So it really goes from like the marketing saying is in urban areas it's about 2 to 3 kilometers. In rural areas it's up to 15 kilometers in range. Actually, that is also what we can prove in our applications. So that the range is quite good. It's definitely covering that. But on the other side, you can see it has a by far lower possible data rate. So LoRaWAN is not made for any kind of data streaming, but we will go deeper into that on the next slide. So first of all, we also need to separate between the wording LoRa and LoRaWAN. Actually, it's most of the time used synonymously, but I also do that by myself actually. But it's something different. So LoRa itself is the technology, like the physical layer, the wireless technology that is used here. Which in Europe uses the ISM band on 868 megahertz. In other parts of the world, unfortunately, it's different frequencies, like 915 in the US. So that is something you have to consider if your application is running worldwide. We have, first of all, the advantage of this relatively low frequency compared to, for example, Bluetooth on 2.4 gigahertz. So this is has a better range by nature, by physics. On the other side, this LoRa technology was exactly designed for high range and also deep indoor coverage. So that means it goes through buildings. If you have to go to the basement, for example, to read out meters, etc., it is by far more performant than other technologies. And it was also designed for very low power consumption. So most of the applications out there require battery powered devices, and this is perfectly possible with LoRaWAN to run sensors for a couple of years on batteries. What else is there to be said? Something you should have heard at least, but this is something that the network itself organizes, so you don't have to take care for that. If you set up your LoRa network, is this 1% duty cycle, which just means because LoRaWAN is using this open ISM band, there is some restriction on the time on air. Basically, you can imagine if you have 100 seconds, you're allowed to send 1 second, and you have to be silent for another 99 seconds, which sounds really bad, but in fact, that is still enough if you just send for some milliseconds to have good performance. You can use thousands of sensors in a network. That is still enough. But you just should have heard of it. But this is something the LoRaWAN managed by itself if you set up a LoRaWAN network. So next point in differentiation to the LoRa itself is the LoRaWAN protocol, which is actually the as I said, the protocol which is used on the physical layer. That is an open industry standard that is maintained by the LoRa Alliance. That is the like the community of companies that support the LoRaWAN standard and develop it further, which is, I think it's now about 800 companies or something, I don't know exactly, that are driving this standard forward. And this is the common standard, so you can be sure whenever you buy any device that is LoRaWAN compatible, it works with any gateway, with any LoRaWAN server. That is made sure by this common LoRaWAN standard. Just to have it heard, the data rates actually range from 250 bits per second up to 50 kilobits per second. So you can see that is really not something for intense data streaming. It's about sensor data, obviously, sending a couple of values every 5 minutes or every hour or whatever. That is what LoRaWAN is intended for. So this data rate is controlled by so-called spreading factors, which is also set by the network autonomously, so you don't have to take care for it. The lower the spreading factor, the better the data rate, and the lower or the shorter the time on air, which means also lower battery consumption. So it's always good to be in a low spreading factor like the SF7, for example. But this is managed by the network autonomously, and yeah, that is something you should consider when you set up a network, to have gateways more nearby, so the spreading factor gets higher the more far you are from the gateway. That is just for to understand the idea behind that. Just letting other people in here. What is also important to know is that LoRaWAN is a bidirectional technology, so it's not only possible to receive any sensor data, it's also possible to configure sensors over the air, or to also to switch devices. So they're not only sensors, they're also actors out there. You can also control devices via LoRaWAN. That's perfectly possible. And last but not least, which is also the point we come to here today, is it is possible to set up private networks, unless technologies like cellular providers. You can use LoRaWAN by yourself. You could just use a gateway and set up your own network. And well, this is exactly the case what we are doing with the Watsence gateway here, and what we will demonstrate. So last but not least, the typical LoRaWAN structure looks like that. On the one hand, we have the end devices, which can be any kind of sensor or actor. We have one to many gateways, and the heart of the LoRaWAN network is the so-called LoRaWAN network server, which is shown here in this cloud. So this is the part that is managing the whole network, that's doing the device management, and from there on, you can send the data to any third-party application, and that could, for example, here in that case, be some building management system. So said that, in this case with the Watsence gateway, it's a bit different, because we have this network server integrated within the LoRaWAN network, within the LoRaWAN gateway. That means a gateway and LoRaWAN network server is one part, and from there on, from the Watsence box or hub, we can go to any third-party application. So yeah, obviously we could talk more about that, but to spare some time, I'll just jump to the next page, where I collected a couple of arguments why LoRaWAN is a very good solution for building management applications. So first of all, I think it's important to say the LoRaWAN is not meant to replace existing wired networks or something. But it's a perfect complement to that kind of systems as well. So when it comes to retrofitting in buildings where you don't have any management system yet, or where there's just parts of the building connected by existing systems, then it's really easy to retrofit with LoRaWAN. You just usually you just need one gateway. You can cover a huge building with that. You can just integrate different kinds of sensors for many different applications. I listed a few here, like indoor climate management, energy management, metering, these kind of things, but also access control, presence in rooms, whatever. You can use many different kind of sensors that you can just add to existing systems using LoRaWAN without any without any infrastructure. You just need to set up the gateway, connect it to the building management system, as we will see. And yeah, you don't need to wire, to put some cables somewhere. It's yeah, very convenient and easy and cheap way to retrofit existing buildings. And with that, I would like to hand over again to Romain to go on with the Watsence solution.
Thank you very much. So indeed, as you said, we have a very specific gateway look like that. The particularity is multi-protocol, so that we can connect simultaneously some wired equipment, such as Modbus RTU, Modbus IP, BACnet IP, MBus, KNX, LPB, and of course LoRaWAN on that antenna. So that's a gateway which allow to get a plug-and-play solution where you can connect pretty much every equipment of your building. You don't need to multiply the number of gateways, so you simplify the installation and you remove the complexity of integration with all the equipment. We can then keep the data of the equipment, and the solution is bidirectional, so we can also send command to an equipment, can be in LoRaWAN, such as a thermostatic valve, for instance, or we can send command to a boiler or to a controller. The solution is really simple to use. We have a no-code approach. I will see on the demo I will do in 5 minutes. The idea is like everybody can do it. All the configuration is done on a web page, and it's very easy. You don't have to write any line of command or to know anything about automation. Everything is very intuitive, and we try to keep it this way. Once you want to join or pair an equipment, again, that's very easy. We have a library or a database of equipment which are already decoded. So if you want to add a boiler or a controller in Modbus RTU, for instance, all the table of exchange and the address are already integrated within the device. Or if you want to add any type of LoRaWAN sensor, we can do it. It's likely that is already decoded in a library so that we had a codec and a payload, and we did all the integration job. The main keyword I would say today is interoperability. Our solution can connect every equipment regardless of the brand. What matters to us is a language, is a protocol of communication. If it's LoRaWAN from MileSide, from LCS, from Adonis, from Watteko, from Nexelec, from Sensilab, we can indeed connect all of them very easily because we are totally interoperable, and because, as you just said, we have the LoRaWAN server network, which is embedded within the gateway itself, which allow to get the data, send data either to a cloud server, or we can also convert locally some protocol, such as LoRaWAN or Modbus, locally to BACnet IP or Modbus IP. Then that solution becomes very attractive to manage a building. If your building has an existing BMS and you want to add a layer of technology on top of it, if you want your sensor you've installed to be locally read by the BMS, you simply have to pair the equipment. It takes 2 minutes. And then you say, I want my sensor to be converted to BACnet IP so that it can be read locally. So the idea is to provide a solution for you to keep control of your building, to make sure that your building is properly connected, and ensure you can capture all the data on it. Next slide, please. That's an example of a typical building. Of course, we don't have all of that in real life, but it can be an hotel, it can be a Starbucks coffee, it can be a high school, a library, a football stadium, as well in France, IKEA shop. That's some of the places that we have connected for real with a gateway. And because the gateway is multi-protocol, it can connect various equipments, ventilation, metering, heating system, hot sanitary water system, chillers, of course, the air quality, the boiler. Every equipment can be connected with one gateway. The target, the idea, is a small to medium-sized building. That's particularly true in Europe, where 80% of the building don't have BMS. It's very easy to connect everything with one gateway so that you can keep control and you can make sure that your building is now connected and you can make it better operated. The 20% remaining, the building with a BMS, usually that BMS is quite complex. It's quite complex because it's a big installation, it's a big thing, and we try to bring a tool for you to make this connectivity very easily. Hence, the conversion of LoRaWAN to BACnet or the conversion of LoRaWAN to Modbus IP, so that we can easily and very, I can say very simply, without any cloud connection, locally convert some data to upgrade your local BMS. Go to the next one, please. That is just a quick slide to say what type of version we can offer with a gateway. So we have one gateway, is this one, and we just decline it in 2 different versions to make sure that we cover all of the application case from our clients. We've got what we call the box version and we got the hub version. Both versions are based on the same hardware, so we can easily move from a box to the hub or from a hub to a box. The difference is the box is a managed version where we control pretty much everything. We can manage the 4G SIM card to send data to a cloud server, and the data transit via our server, and then we can integrate to your server or to a third-party server with a REST API. We can also do the local conversion, LoRaWAN to backnet IP or Modbus IP. The hub, on the opposite, it's an on-premise version. Why is it up to you to connect the device to your server with your own LAN connection, and integration is only by MQTT. So box version is a managed solution where Watsence manage everything. So the business model is the price of the hardware plus a subscription annually, while the hub, because it's up to you to manage everything, the business model is only a one-time purchase, and then you can manage your connection by yourself. Both versions are based on the same hardware, once again, so that is easily to move to upgrade from one to the other. That's just a matter of commercially negotiation, which is very easy to understand. What I'm going to show you now is a demonstration of the box, and I will jump, I think, on my screen, right? Do we have a next slide?
Yes.
After?
Yep, that's the next slide is only that, so just jump to your screen.
All right, okay. So I'm going to go to, I think it's this one, right? Can you see my screen? Hope so.
Yep.
Okay,
yes, I see.
So that's a web page accessible from any laptop or any smartphone, console.watsence.com. And on that page, the first thing you see is all the boxes which are connected to my account. I did a login previously, and then I get access to it. So we got a map in the world where all the boxes are located. A couple of examples in Spain, in the UK, in Germany. We were in a Lighten building a few weeks ago, I think it was early October, in Frankfurt, when we had a demonstration of the device. And you can see that I can take over the box. I can be in Frankfurt, I can be in Berlin, I can be in New York. It's the exact same. I can take over the box I've got here. It's a remote access from everywhere I'm in the world. I'm going to take on my box here. I'm going to jump to the configuration. That's a sensor from Adonis, which has been joined, has been paired to the gateway for the demo. I can see that I've got some property I can choose from. I've got a CO2 level, I've got humidity, I've got a temperature with the live data, of course, in the office. That's to say that these properties are, of course, decoded. As I say, the approach is a no-code approach, and because that equipment is in a database already, I will have not only the raw payload, which is somewhere like over there, but also all the data are decoded. So if you want to connect very easily a LoRaWAN sensor, whatever the brand is, again, is likely it's on a database of equipment decoded. If it's not, please let us know, and we'll add the equipment for you, and of course, for all of our clients. So every week, our library of equipment integrated increases. For the time being, I've got my sensor here. I have some functionality, which I can quickly go over it. The dashboard mode, I've created that, so I can see like every time I open that page that my battery of my sensor is fine, my temperature is not so bad, CO2 level is a bit high, but it can be worse. It's quite cold outside, so I'm not going to open the window, and the humidity is good. I can, of course, have more things. I can have some dashboard if I want. Very simple. We don't intend to do any BIM or 3D modelization. It's just a way for you to simply scan your own floor plan of your office, for instance, with your local scanner, a PDF or JPEG. Your floor plan, you can upload it directly, and you can edit and say, I want to have my temperature of my sensor here to be on the plan is in pink. I save, my temperature is click and drag, is a meeting room. I can monitor in real time my temperature. Same with the graphic mode. We have the graphic mode of the last 2 days. You can change that, of course, to 2 days to 7 days. It's kind of cyclic. It makes sense. It was quite cold in Lyon, where we're based recently. Car was freezing this morning. We can see that people arrived this morning. It was 14 degrees. First thing they did, of course, is to put the heater on. They arrived around 8:30, and the temperature is not so bad. You can see that everything can be monitored and backed up on any cloud server. We've got live data. We've got alarm functionality where you can set up some alarm and you can send an email or SMS if something goes wrong or something is above or below a defined value. Let's go back to the configuration. Configuration is once your equipment is paired. This is done very easily. Again, we got a way to do it with the Watsence configuration. You select an equipment from a database of equipment decoded, and you say, I want a temperature sensor. Every sensor with world temperature will show up. You click on one you want, and the equipment is added. Okay. So configuration. Once the equipment is paired, you want, and it's the purpose of this webinar today, you want to get this data and to be converted locally to backnet IP so that it can be read by the explicit BMS. Basically, we've got two choices. You can call an integrator. It will take a few days. And we know that because in France, an integrator is around €1,000 per day. It can be quite expensive, especially if you have many sensors to integrate. We come across a way to do it much easily. And again, a no-code approach. Everything is very easily done by creating a virtual gateway. You just click on gateway, and I'm going to create my gateway. Okay, I'm going to name it gateway. Description, that will be for the webinar. Protocol to choose from, backnet IP, Modbus IP, or MQTT. Well, for the fuck of today, for the webinar, I'm going to try backnet IP. It's here. I'm going to say that my connection is on a port on the left-hand side, and I'm going to say my gateway is here. It has been created. Right now, I have 0 property. I'm going to assign property to that gateway. So I'm going to click on property, and I'm simply going to add some property. All the equipment which has been connected to the gateway appears here, including all the properties. I'm going to choose to select CO2, humidity, and temperature. It's the 3 properties that I want right now. 3 properties right now, they are in LoRaWAN, and I want to convert that to backnet IP. So I save. And now you can see that my selected properties are now local. And I want to read this temperature from my identity sensor on the backnet object number 136. I go on my parameters, and I can change to 136 on backnet IP. Here you go, you save. And now you've just converted LoRaWAN to backnet IP, so data can be read locally. Is effortless, is 1 minute to do. Everybody can do it. The idea is to bring something different, to make something easy, so that you can, of course, do something quick in a way to enhance your building and your BMS already in place. That's what we do. That's available both for the box version and a hub version. Local conversion doesn't require any cloud access. All the configuration is done on the web page. The 4G SIM card is provided both for the box version and the hub version, so that you don't have to manage your LAN connection, at least for the configuration, or the configuration is already provided and online. Once the configuration is done, you can disconnect your device to the cloud, and this conversion will be done locally without any cloud access. I tried to keep it simple and brief for the time being. I know the time is running. We have many videos on our YouTube channel. We've got some explanation, very short videos on what's the difference between the box and a hub, how you convert LoRaWAN to backnet or LoRaWAN to Modbus IP, how you pair an equipment, everything is shown. If you have any question, please, of course, get in touch with M2M. They are our partner for Germany. We're counting on them, and we work a lot with them with many projects. They can provide you good support, both technically and commercially. The idea is to go with a partner such as M2M is that they can centralize your need. If you need some sensors, if you need some meters, some cabling, some consulting information, and if of course some gateways, they can provide you the best advice for your project. Right now, that's what we do. Simple way to connect equipment, simple way to get data, to read data, and of course, a very simple and very accessible way to convert locally to any BMS.
Thank you very much. So I think we can just maybe we just let you share the screen. Maybe you can show something. I just saw the first questions are already coming. So I think you can't actually see the
question, right? Yeah, I can see the question.
Then I will just read it, and yeah, we can go through it. So the first questions here was, can multiple Watsence gateways sit on the same BACnet TCP/IP network back to a single BMS BACnet network, or would multiple BMS BACnet networks be required to scale up the number of Watsence gateways?
Right. Each gateway has its own LoRaWAN server and BACnet server, but we cannot do master and slave with BACnet at the same time. So I believe if you want to connect various equipment to the gateway, you can of course convert that to BACnet IP. If you have various gateways on the same BACnet IP network, I believe you can do it, but it's up to the configuration of the local BMS. We can control that. What we do is we can convert locally. We can open a port on a BACnet side. We give you, of course, an IP address, which on the gateway itself, you can still see my screen. I'm going to go back to my gateway. If you go to the property of my gateway, right over there, you will be able to change, of course, this device instance and all this network number. So you can change the configuration of the gateway. Everything up and down to the gateway is up to you to manage it.
Okay, I hope this answers the question. Otherwise, just drop us another message. And yeah, please, everybody, feel free if you have any questions to let us know here in the chat. Just jump to the next one. So we have the question: in case that the box is installed in a place where the 4G signal strength is very low, would it be possible to connect to the cloud via LAN or WAN, or is it possible only via 4G?
The answer is yes. You can indeed provide your own LAN connection. Should you rather prefer to have the LAN connectivity to the internet rather than the SIM card, that's fine. We understand that. In a case, the SIM card won't be used, and you can, of course, connect your own LAN connection, and you have to manage it. If you go to a place where the 4G signal is very low, we recommend, of course, putting a deported antenna with a 10 meters cable so that you can have a better signal. I don't know if you see my camera. You just unscrew the antenna provided and you put a bigger antenna with a better gain, and you can have a better signal. We recommend to do that, especially when the box is installed on a basement, on a substation, or on a boiler room. Usually it's a couple of floors down. To ensure the better reception, we recommend both for the 4G SIM card and for the LoRaWAN to put a deported antenna.
I would even go a bit further and would say whenever the box is installed in a cabinet that is made out of metal, then it makes absolutely sense to use an external antenna that goes out of the cabinet. But this is something we can discuss case by case if you need some external antenna. The next question goes into same direction more or less. So is it necessary to connect to the cloud in any case?
It depends. For the configuration has to be done online. The configuration of the equipment, the pairing of the equipment, to select the properties, this has to be done on our webpage. But with the box, we see the data. That's why we can play with that. If you see my screen, you have a graphic mode, the dashboard. That's only available for the box version because the data transit via our server, so we can play with them, of course. With the hub, On the other side, the hub, the configuration is still done on its web page, but the only thing you have would be the live data and the configuration. Or the other tab, you won't get access because we don't see the data. That's the main difference. With the hub, we don't see any data. It's up to you to manage the data either locally or to your cloud server with the MQTT integration, but we don't see them. So to answer the question, yes, it's necessary to go on this web page for the configuration, and then no, it's not necessary to go to our server. Depending on the model, depending on the version. With the box, yes, the data goes to a cloud server. With the hub, no, it's up to you to manage it, and the data doesn't go any cloud server unless you decided.
Okay, thank you. So I'll just sum it up in German, as the question was in German. Also es ist einmal zur Konfiguration notwendig in beiden Varianten und bei der Verwendung dann quasi bei der Box, ja, die ist dauerhaft online sozusagen als Cloud-Variante. Beim Hub, nein, das ist dann lokal, da brauche ich keine dauerhafte Internetverbindung mehr. Okay, let's come to the next question. Let me just quickly check. Is that a question or a statement? That's great, thank you. I think it does confirm that multiple gateways can be added to a single VMS server network in, say, a larger office, which could scale up the solution and guarantee site-wide coverage, but I will confirm with our VMS distributor. Okay, yeah, okay, that was more a statement than a question, actually. Okay, the next question is in German again. I'll quickly translate it. Can the Watsence platform be used on-premise with other gateways, for example, Curlink?
No. The platform, the configuration is more like for the configuration itself than a platform. It's a simple way to see data that's based on our solution. So I don't think Curlink can access the Watsence platform.
Okay, also das geht so nicht. Wobei wenn ich mir die Frage durchlese, müssen wir mal individuell vielleicht nochmal sprechen, was da genau die Anforderungen sind, ja, oder was dagegen sprechen sollte, dann eben tatsächlich die Watsence Gateways an der Stelle auch einzusetzen. Aber wie gesagt, vielleicht können wir da einfach im Nachgang nochmal individuell sprechen. Okay, next one. Since the trending data are stored only for 30 days, is there the possibility for the trend data to automatically be sent to a predefined mail, for example?
Yeah, so what we see, the data are actually stored for more than 30 days. We had a 30 days access on the flash memory so that we can have the data very quickly. Every data are archived anyway with the box model. See that it took me like 1 second to get all the data over the last 30 days. That's only for the quick access memory. If you want data previous to that 30 days, you can do it, but you need to archive data. That's just a way to visualize it very quickly and not to make too much data as well available. Otherwise, it would take so slow and much time to get the data. If you want data to be more than 30 days, you request an archive, and I think you will reply the question as well a bit below. You can request an archive and you say, I want data from the date of, I don't know, let's say June 2022. I apply. I want the data without transformation. I want a group by months, and I want to send that either an Excel, a JSON, or CSV. And you can send that with the property you choose for every equipment. You want the temperature and humidity of that. You save, and you can send that, of course, by email of the people, or you can put your email. Let's say you want mine. It's here up, and I can say I request a download, and we'll have an email to download my data. That's how you request a data, CSV, Excel, or JSON format. We don't do FTP export. We try to avoid that. Otherwise, the best way would be API integration. We get a very powerful REST API available if you type api.watsence.com. API integration is very popular. We know it's very stable as well. And on that API integration, you can have all the data, anything you want, and it will be probably better for you to integrate to have a more comprehensive range of information.
Okay, So the next question is it possible to send the data to AWS? I would say in general, yes, we can use the connectors existing like the MQTT, but Romain, do you want to add something?
Well, yes, AWS is actually our server. We store data with AWS based in Germany and Ireland. Of course, as you know, it's certified C5. Everything is quite secured. Of course, AWS security level is quite high. When you send data to the server with a 4G SIM card, data encrypt end to end, so that's quite good. But yes, we have a server with AWS, but we also integrate with MQTT with any broker. It can be Azure, AWS, Mosquito, any type of broker that you provide. We can do the integration to your server. Thank you, Florian. Indeed, that's the link of api.watsence.com. You can download it. You can look at it. You can see many details. If you scroll on the left column, you will see many things. That's if you can still api.watsence.com. If you go on it, you can still share my screen probably. Yeah, go on it, of course, and you will see it's quite big. API, of course, of Watsence. All the organization, user management, service accounts, everything is over there. So does is this webhooks alarm and a cloud-to-cloud MQTT. Should you need to do an integration with MQTT, is indeed AWS, Azure, or any custom type of broker. And everything is detailed step by step on how to do the configuration with or without certificate authentication. So everything is a lot of command. It's quite a big information.
Okay. Then we have another.
Yeah.
You want to add something? Or?
No, just reading the question. Does LoRaWAN only communicate with local device, or can the box also?
We actually skipped one question from also Antonio's, but his previous question. I think it was partly answered. How do we receive?
It was, yeah.
Data, is it possible to receive them via email? So yes, we have seen emails possible, but also all the possible API connections that you just showed.
Does LoRaWAN only communicate with local devices, or can the box also send to other LoRaWAN networks that cover the wide area? Each gateway, so of course, each hub and box have their own LoRaWAN server network embedded. So each device can cover a certain range of LoRaWAN, and they have the equipment joined and paired to each gateway. So depend on the localization, depend on the settings or the configuration on site. Sometimes you can see very poor network range because the place is like a Faraday cage with many metals placed everywhere, which we make the LoRaWAN signal very small. Sometimes it's a large area. We can have few kilometers sometimes for the connection, depend where you are connected. But to summarize, each gateway has its own LoRaWAN server embedded.
Yeah, that's a bit of the difference that I told you before. Here we have the special case that the LoRaWAN network server is integrated into the gateway. So if you consider the LoRaWAN structure with the external, to call it like that, the external LoRaWAN network server, then you can have many gateways connected to one network server, being one big network, and this can also be decentralized. So you can have a gateway in I don't know, Frankfurt, another one in Paris, and both of them are connected in one LoRa network server, and so building one big network. So that is the that is the difference in that case when we have the LoRaWAN network server embedded in the gateway. So every gateway is its own LoRaWAN network.
And just if I may add something, what we see now is the LoRaWAN protocol is picking up quite a lot of momentum. Is being the war of wireless protocol over the last few years. LoRaWAN seems to have won at least one battle. It's very popular. We can see it's been developed quite a lot. Many brands now offer very solid equipment. Can be for temperature, for occupancy, for detection, for pulse, for many type of application. Many good brands, many good sensors out there on the market. And we see that LoRaWAN is becoming quite popular, and the application is like so different from the retail shops to the school who need to monitor the CO2 and air quality, to some refrigerator places, to some ventilation, boiler. We even have some thermostatic valve. We can control the heater on each individual radiator. We have the fan. We've got this so much application, from facility management to air quality to proactive maintenance to energy consumption. That's a very wide range, and we see that it seems to be the future, and it seems to be very popular. So we're really pleased to have selected this wireless protocol. We believe that that will be the next standard of connectivity, and the fact that it can improve this BMS integration and make the building more connected thanks to this LoRaWAN to backnet conversion.
Okay, thank you. The next question is in German again. Ja, das erklärt das ein bisschen. Klar, das sind einfach, ist natürlich einfach eine andere Anwendung. Watsence zielt hier ganz klar auf Gebäudemanagement im Gebäude letztendlich ab. Und klar, die Gateways sind nicht dazu gedacht, um im Prinzip eine großräumige Abdeckung zu schaffen, wie man das jetzt, wenn man jetzt ein LoRaWAN-Netzwerk aufbaut über einen kompletten Landkreis oder eine Stadt oder so. Das ist natürlich ein anderer Anwendungsfall. So, any more questions?
Well, this webinar has been recorded. Of course, should you have any question, get in touch with M2M Germany. They are our partner in Germany. So anything about pricing information, please get in touch with them. And if you need any more information, again, get in touch with us, and we'll be pleased to answer any question.
Yes, one more question. Is there a version planned which works without cloud connection?
The hub version is a local version. The configuration is done on the cloud, but it's just for the configuration. We don't see the data. It's just and only just for the configuration. Then when the configuration is finished, you can disconnect it and it will work locally without any cloud connection.
Okay, he says it has to be completely without cloud. Yeah, well then I fear we won't get around. So for the configuration, at least it is needed. Yeah.
We can configure it. We can actually disconnect the 4G SIM card, so we can take it out. You can connect the hub to your local network to have access to a web page only for the configuration. And then when it's done, you disconnect it, and then you have a totally local device without any cloud access.
Ja, also vielleicht das nochmal zu ergänzen. Es ist ja eben so, dass in der Version tatsächlich keine Daten über die Cloud fließen, sondern wirklich einfach nur einmalig die Konfiguration darüber stattfindet. Und eben die ganzen Nutzdaten letztendlich nicht darüber laufen. Okay, I think in case anybody has other questions, or if you have any questions later on, just don't hesitate to contact us, call us, drop us an email, whatever. So we are here to help you if there are any questions. Otherwise, I would like to thank you, Romain, for doing this webinar together.
Thank you.
And, thanks to all of you, to the audience. It's almost Christmas. At least for us, it is the last webinar for this year. So thanks to all of you. Have a nice Christmas time, And yeah, I hope I will hear back from some of you in this regard or any other topic.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for coming.
There's another question. Can you put the link to the YouTube channel? We will send some follow-up mail to all participants with the information, and also we can share the presentation as well. So you will get that.
If you type YouTube Watsence, you find it very easily. Let me try to do it right now. YouTube Watsence. That our channel. Bear with me 1 second. Up. If you go there. Come on, this.
Konkrete Fragen gerne. Stimmt, ich blende mal kurz noch die letzte Folie ein, dann das auch noch. So, if you have any questions, you can use our addresses here. And as I said, we will share the presentation, and we will send another email also with our contact information. So